Hi there everyone. Okay, I'm going to do, per request from Gary over in CPAL, a couple more advanced techniques for some detail work. We're going to go over just a couple little extra things for you guys to get started and keep it going. So let's get to it. Let me just take 1 second to get my camera going. I hope you guys can see okay. I don't have the best lighting, but let's get started. We're going to do some wood, and I am not the best person with wood. There are plenty of people out there who are way better than me with drawing wood grain, but you can at least get the gist of things. To get started, I already did a little tiny bit, and one trick for you all is the farther back you hold your pencil, the flatter you can get it on your paper. And if I move my hand forward, then I'm more likely to be able to do more detailed, fine line work. But if you hold your pencil back a little bit and loosen up your grip, let me move this back a little. Whoop. If you loosen up your grip, you can get more of your lead actually on your surface. So I'm just going in with my yellow ochre, and again, nice and loose, going in and adding a little color. And one thing I've found with wood grain is it does help if you're a little looser and more sketchy with it, because then you'll get the neat little fine lines and almost like little wisps in with your wood grain. And once again, I apologize. I am not the best person for handling wood. Lots of people in CPAL or in other places are fantastic with it. But just so you can get an idea of a technique that is used. Like anything else, there is no right or wrong. It's just what works for you. But this might give you a decent idea. Okay, there's some yellow ochre. I'm now going in with burnt ochre. It's that nice warm brown shade, and again, I'm holding the pencil back, not up here. If I'm up here, it's going to be more controlled, more tight. Back here, nice and loose, a little sketchy feeling. And I also go knuckle down towards my paper rather than knuckle up. But if a knuckle up is more comfortable for you, or to the side, whatever's comfortable. So now I'm just going to go in next to my yellow ochres and get in some of this burnt ochre, and that's going to help define some of these striations in the wood grain. I'm going to do some very light areas, some darker areas, and to do that, I'm just changing the pressure that I'm using, the hand pressure. So there's some of the burnt ochre. And now I'm just going in with some sepia or sepia, however you'd like to say it. In my town, we call it sepia. I've heard it pronounced both ways. And once again, nice and light. Not light, loose is the word I'm looking for. Loose lines, kind of a sketchy, free motion. And maybe I want that to come up and loop around and come to a little point here, and just kind of change your direction up a little bit. A knot is actually naturally forming right there. And to get that knot, I'm moving up on my pencil, and I'm going to actually form that overall shape and extend it up, kind of like a cat eye for any women who use eyeliner. You know what I'm talking about there. And there was one over here kind of forming, so let's exaggerate that a bit, darken it up and extend it out. Maybe make these join up a little bit. Now I move back on my pencil, my lead is going to be more flat once again. So let's get some of that sepia in there. And at this point, I pretty much have everything blocked out, and from here it's a matter of adding more layers until you get the effect that you're looking for. I'm going to go back in with my yellow ochre and darken some of this up. And I have been and will continue to overlap some of these colors. That's going to help you blend it all in together, make it more uniform, smoother. It's going to help get rid of the white of the paper. And you know, I'm still using this loose motion. This time I'm adding a little bit more hand pressure with my pencils. And really, you're rinsing and repeating at this point. And here I want it to be nice and very much yellow ochre. Well, let's do a little more right here and here. Okay, now I'm going to go back in with my burnt ochre, that nice warm rich color. I'm going to try to give the different variations of the wood grain and texture and color in there. You do want to be careful that you don't get just stripes. It can look not quite realistic if you're doing stripes. And it looks like we have a couple dogs walking by our window, so if my dog starts barking, I do apologize. Just kind of be ready for that. You might want to be ready with the mute button. So I'm still working with my burnt ochre. I love this color. It's one of my favorite browns. It's so warm and inviting feeling. Okay, and going back in with my sepia for a second. I'm going to redefine this a little bit. This guy too. And then really I just kind of want a hint of it elsewhere to help tie it all in so it doesn't look like two black eyes looking at you. But that's an overpowering shade, so you want to be careful with your dark and cool browns when you're working with like a blonde wood. And if you want it to look nice and polished, I'm going in with my white and I'm going to burnish the heck out of this thing. So I'm going in with my white and burnishing a bit. That's going to give it a nice shine. And of course, this is just a quick video, mostly for Gary. But when burnishing, you do want to remember to follow your lines, and that's with anything. Follow your form, follow your lines, follow your shapes, because no matter what you do, since you are working with a pencil, your pencil strokes will help determine the shape and the form, but will also help trick the viewer's eye into recognizing those forms. And you can notice that the white did kind of pastel this out a little bit, washed it out. And that happened because I didn't have a whole lot of color layers built up. So just for illustration purposes, or a little correction for you guys, if that does happen to you and it's not, the color isn't as bright and vibrant as you had wanted, excuse me, you can go back in after you do some burnishing with your color and bring that out again. So now I'm going back in with my yellow ochre. And see how much brighter that looks already? I hope you can see it. And since I am using a heavier pressure with my pencil at this point, my knuckles are facing out, not down. And that's just comfortable for me. It's more natural. Whatever works for you guys, though. So, okay, there's some extra yellow ochre. And I really do like that burnt ochre, so I'm going to go back in quickly with the burnt ochre and just try to redefine that and bring that color back a little bit, because I did lose some with the white. But even in doing this, you're still getting a fairly decent shine. After this layer, you could always go back in and burnish some more. And since there's more saturation on the paper, we'd probably have more luck with getting an actually really shiny surface, just like polished wood. So let's try it. I'm just going to do this little area over here, see how the burnishing looks this time. Now don't forget, a lot of people like to burnish in circles. You know, if you feel like working in little circles, you feel free. If you want to do more of a cross hatching like I was doing, go for it. Whatever works for your circumstances, your situation, your goals, and your comfort. And I have talked before about burnishing with color. I'm going to show you a little bit of that. This little area here was burnished with white, and it did dull it down a little bit more. Again, I don't have a whole bunch of layers on here to smash down with the burnishing. But if you burnish, I'm going in with quite a heavy hand now with my yellow ochre. And this is kind of burnishing with color. To be honest, I'm not sure if you can even really call it burnishing since you're using another color, but I'm just going to go for it. If I'm wrong there, someone correct me. I know you will. Yeah, that's actually turning out pretty nicely. Not bad for a girl who doesn't draw wood very often. Or at all, really. Since I am just getting back into realism myself, this is some stuff that I haven't really done in quite a while. It's almost like teaching yourself all over again. But hey, that's half the fun. You know, you rediscover yourself. You rediscover your techniques. You end up having some extra fun. So, okay, I'm just going to do a quick close-up of that. I hope you can see it. There's some wood for you, some wood grain, a couple knots. It's actually pretty easy. You know, just stay loose with it and have some fun. Don't, you know, unless you're working from a reference photo where it has to be absolutely perfect, have some fun with it, you know, make it your own. I'm going to put those pencils down and sharpen my white up real quick. Burnishing does take a toll on your pencils. So, okay. My white is now nice and fairly sharp. A lot of people work with a very sharp pencil, and I've also said before, I really don't. I like sharp, but I don't like the extremely fine points unless it's absolutely necessary. And that's just, for me, that's just how I work. So let's